Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Amina, and today we're talking GCSE and A-level exams, how to prepare for them and what to do in the circumstances that are completely different and probably completely unexpected from what you thought you'd be doing 5 years ago when you thought about your GCSEs or your A-levels. Now, there are around, when you're watching this, probably 20 days left, 20 school days left to your final exams or your final assessments, which is not very long at all. It's actually around the corner. It's very, very short. So this year, the A-level and GCSE exams are going to be conducted slightly differently due to the situation that we find ourselves in, where you have had a lot less learning time, a lot less face-to-face teaching in the classroom than you would traditionally have. Now, last year was a bit of a mess, I'm sure that you know, but the government decided to use an algorithm to give grades out to students, and the algorithm downgraded lots of students, and it was a bit of a fiasco. A bit of chaos happened. So this year things are happening a little bit differently, and so in this video I want to talk to you a little bit as a teacher about firstly how you'll be graded if you're not aware, what schools are doing, and how you can, I guess what you can do in this situation to maximize the grade that you end up with. I post every Wednesday and every Sunday, and I'm going to be posting a couple more GCSE/A-level related content and what you might want to do after your GCSEs and A-levels. So if you do want to see these kind of videos, then do subscribe to my channel to see more from me. So the first question you might be asking is, what exams am I sitting? Because this year we're hearing the term assessment, exams, but I thought we don't have exams. So let me read you a statement that Gavin Williams, the Educational Secretary, said about this. So he told the government, this year's students will receive grades determined by their teachers, with assessments covering what they were taught and not what they have missed. Teachers have a good understanding of their students' performance and how they compare to other students this year and from those of previous years. So essentially what he's saying is your grades will be determined by your teachers, but this has to be based on assessments, and it says based on assessments covering what they were taught, not what they've missed. So for example, if you have done English exam and you haven't read a text yet, but you have read another text, then your exam will be based on what you have read and what you have analyzed. So in a way that's good, it's positive, because it means that you will only be tested on what you have taught. But in a way that's also going to be a bit of a challenge, because if for whatever reason you weren't able to attend your online classes, or you just didn't think they were important, then you might have missed those bits of information. So actually you haven't been taught it at all. So it's a bit of a tough one, but essentially that is what's going to happen. So what teachers are going to do is they're going to use assessments, they might have like mock exams, they might give you coursework. It's open to interpretation. The school, your school, can decide what they want to do to assess you, to show evidence. The key thing is they need to have evidence. They can't just say, oh, I'm going to give this person a level 7 because, you know, they're in set 1 or set 2 and, you know, that's what they're probably going to get. They can't say that. They need to say, right, so I gave them a test in January and they got a 7. I gave them a test in March and they showed skills of a level 7. And they have to actually show evidence of that. They can't just make up a grade because they like you or because they don't like you. It actually doesn't work like that this year. So it's a little bit less biased than I think it sounds when you say teachers will assess your grade. So what can you do to actually help you? Firstly, you can find out how you are being assessed for each subject. So you should be very clear on how you are going to be assessed, because there will be a test. Whether you're told or you're not told, there will be some sort of assessment from today up to May. So speak to your teachers. If you feel like you're not getting the answer that you want, or you feel like they're not giving, like they're hiding it for whatever reason, I'm sure they won't, but if you do feel like that, then get your parent or carer to contact the head of year or your teacher and say, can I book a meeting or can I speak to you over the phone, because I want to identify exactly how my child will be assessed for this subject. And that should give you a clearer picture of exactly how you will be assessed. Find out the dates, the exact dates for when the assessments will happen. In my school, they're already happening from this week. So find out exactly what dates they're going to be occurring on, what the content is that you're going to be covering. So like I said, they don't have to test you on what they won't test you on what they haven't taught you. So do find out exactly what topics are going to be tested and exactly when they will be tested. And as I mentioned, try to make sure that you get a content list, a topic list, because this is meant to be fair. It's meant to show you exactly what you've been taught taught and so what you need to learn, and so there's no confusion and it's clear exactly what you're going to be assessed on. Don't forget to declare any mitigating circumstances. So for example, if there's been a lot of trauma, a lot of sadness, a lot of loss in the past couple of months and year, and if you're someone who has experienced something like that, then that is something for you to raise with your head of year, with your school. Get your parent or carer to come in and speak to someone at school, because if you do have a circumstance that, especially with everything going on, they do understand, the government do understand that people, children, students are going through things, and so that could affect your grades, then do make sure to bring that up, because what the teachers will do is when you do your assessments in class, they will take into account what situation you've been in. So if you're showing them that you're working at a grade 6 and considering what's happened, then possibly they can pump that up to a 7, because had you not been in that situation, you probably would have been able to do better. So just be aware that if you have got a circumstance, then declare it as early as possible. Then once you have all your dates and your times and your schedule and your content list, then make yourself a revision timetable. You don't have exams in May in the same way that you would have had traditionally. They're going to be scattered from today onwards. So you need to make sure that you know what exam is coming up, what the contents are for that exam, how long the exam is, and maybe how much weight it takes. So for example, are they using this exam for 100% of your grade? Is it like 5% of your grade, 10%? Try and ask these questions to make sure that you understand how important each exam is, but they all are important. So don't think that this is just a little class test. Any tests that you're given from today, or any test that you've been given so far this year, is going to be used as evidence for your grade. And when you're deciding on sort of what to study, just focus on exam papers. Try your best to look at past papers and applying your knowledge and your skills onto questions. There's no point of making flashcards and all of this. I mean, that's great, but it would have been nice if you had actual traditional exams. That would have been great to have those flashcards, but right now you don't need to make those fancy flashcards and those lovely revision notes. As great as they are not going to help you learn in the short term. What you need to be focusing on is active recall, which is essentially like using and applying that knowledge onto exam questions, onto quizzes, onto multiple choice questions, and just constantly testing yourself about the knowledge that you learned. You also want to take every test and assessment seriously. I mentioned this just now, but I want to emphasize it again. Anything that can be used as evidence will be used as evidence. So let's say your teacher, let's say it's maths, and your teacher wants to find out whether you have ticked all the boxes for level 7 skills, right? And you haven't shown that you can answer a Pythagoras question, for example, and that's like really important for level 7. Then unfortunately, they can then say, right, there's no evidence for that. Whereas if you were to take every exam seriously and make sure that you're revising as if it was your final exam, because they are technically, then maybe you can show evidence of being able to complete some of that question at some point of any exam, and then you're more likely for them to be like, okay, cool, that's fine. They are able to answer this question even if it's not completely. So what I would do to help with this is try to find out what topics and what skills fall into the different grade boundaries. So if you're taking a higher paper, or if you're taking a foundation paper, or like whatever paper it is that you're taking, then ask your teacher or find out somehow on your textbooks or whatever, what skills, what topics fall in what category. So let's say, again, let's stick to math. Let's say Pythagoras is a level 6 topic. Then if you're aiming for level 6, then you need to make sure that you're able to master Pythagoras. You can answer any question to do with it. You know the formulas, you know how to lay out your working, etc. There's no point of just learning information and not necessarily knowing what grade you're aiming for, because what that means is you're not necessarily showing evidence for all of those levels. So do try your best to find out, like in English, what do I need to do to be able to show evidence that I'm working at level 5? Okay, you need to show that you can use quotes, you can use PE, you can analyze information, whatever it is, and then make sure that you apply that and you find out how to do that and you apply that in your questions when answering your exam questions. So do try to compile a list of subjects and like what skills and what topics fall under what level. And then last but definitely not least, move on from any low exam grades. So you, like I said, you're gonna be taking loads of different mini exams, mini assessments, and then probably a big one at the end of the year in a few weeks time. And within those, there's gonna be 1 or 2 assessments where you don't do as well as you thought you would, and you might think, that's it, like that's it, I got a 5. that's it, I can't get a 7 now. That's not true. It will be averaged out. And also don't forget that your teacher's looking for evidence of skills. So let's say in that paper that you got a level 5, you got a 5 because your numbers added up to a level 5, right, in terms of total score. But actually in that paper, the questions you did well on were the ones that were higher, right? As in like, you know, more difficult. Whereas the ones that you kind of like messed up on the easy questions. So you've shown evidence in that exam of working at a 7, for example. But in other exams, you've shown evidence of working at a 5, 6, 7, 8. So altogether, it's when you average it out, you could be working at a 7, even though that one exam, it was like graded at level 5, right? If that makes sense. So don't look at that one exam and say, oh my God, I did so badly at it. No, it's not gonna be just be like, okay, 5, 5, 6, 7, okay, let's give them a 5. It's not like that. It's looking at skills, looking at whether you can apply yourself, and looking at what grade you're working at based on all of those assessments. Just look past any bad looking results and just try to think, right, it's fine, no big deal. I'm sure I've shown them I can do some sort of skills in this exam. Let me, you know, do even better in the next one, and just look forward to the next one. So I hope that you found some of that useful. There's not much you can do at this stage to change what's going on in the world. I mean, there's nothing you can do to change what's going on in the world. And in an ideal world, we wouldn't be here, but we are, and it's important that we take some ownership and we're able to use what we know and use the resources that we have to better ourselves. It's never too late. You might think that that's it, like I'm done for, I haven't done well at school so far, that's it. It's not, it's never too late. You can still show evidence that you are working at a higher grade, even up to the last exam. And don't forget, you also can appeal your results when you get it in August. So it's never too late to be able to aim high and to be able to get as high as you possibly could and as high as you possibly deserve. If you do like this video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more from me, and I'll see you all in my next one. Okay, bye.